Okay, viewers, we are back in Beaufort West from Mossel Bay. This is a new project. Fully licensed and registered Super Motard. New indicator lights is already on order. But then follow the channel to see what we are going to do with this baby. She is going to be completely transformed into something that we like.
Well, hello, good day, and welcome back to the Certified Jordan channel. Today, we are going to take the Supermotard and we are going to strip it completely bare because we want to do some odd bits of modification here and there. You would have seen that everything on this bike needs to be improved on. This bike comes from Mossel Bay, which obviously is at the coast, and therefore it has a lot of rust on all the bolts and nuts. The frame on this model of this motorcycle is steel and not aluminium. Therefore, it would have also rust, but luckily the frame is painted decently, at least. However, every single bolt and nut, fastener, everything that is metal on this machine is either rusted or painted extremely poorly. It needs some attention. I'm going to show you the rims a bit later. I have spent quite a bit of money on paint stripper to try and get the paint off of the rims, but it doesn't really work. It's too intricate with the spokes and then the spoke fastening nut at the back, and you have the hub in the center. It's too complicated to get paint stripper in there and to actually remove the paint that is on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear this bike apart because I want to take the two rims, the frame, the swing arm and the subframe in for sandblasting. I think it's just going to be so much quicker, and then the moment those things comes back from sandblasting, it's winter.
Look at this and then these here. Now, I'm not sure about you, but that won't work for me. This I did because I replaced the ignition with a brand new one. So, what is this? Bandling, twang, chang, whatever the case may be. But at least it works now. And all of this also works now. But this, to me, this is an issue waiting to become a reality. So this, I think I'm just going to cut it all in half. We'll get a proper connector. We'll put a decent connector, something like a Deutsch connector or something like that on there. These brackets, this is a piece of aluminium that was supposed to hold in the old indicators in the front. But at the moment, the indicators, these are the new ones that I've installed on the back as well. They now sit in here, it goes flush down there. So you can see where that bracket is and where this one goes. So I'm going to take these brackets, these old ones, and I'm going to hack them off. Then the speedometer on this bike, I do have it. Let me show you. Here it is. But you can go and search online for these speedometers. You can see it had quite a harsh life. See what I'm talking about? Every single screw, every single bolt and nut, everything is rusted. So you can go and have a look at these online. These KTM speedometers, they are a problem. Most people complain about them going off whilst riding. They are also complaining about backlights that is not working, all those type of things. Now, this one comes on, no backlight, and it stays on for about 10 seconds after you've switched on the key, and then it dies. And it will never run for the rest of the day. So something's not right with that thing. I've opened it up. It's so rusty inside there. So, you know what? I just ordered another one, not a KTM one, an aftermarket one. So we'll retrofit that in here so that we can get that working. The hooter is actually working. The indicators worked. Low and high beam works. Taillight works. Front and rear brake light work. The only thing that does not work is this kill switch here. It doesn't have another kill switch. That is a starter button down there. But you can see, look at this top triple clamp. These things were painted or whatever they did with it. I don't really know what this rubberizer or whatever it is that they've put on here. Everything was done half-heartedly. So, bottom triple clamp is unpainted and the top one looks like a word I cannot say on this platform. But you get the picture. If you look at that, it looks horrific. These grips, though they are fantastic prototype grips, I also used to use these on my DRZ 400. Unfortunately, they wear quite quickly because they are super soft. I mean, if you look at that, they are super soft. It is extremely nice and grippy. If you do that, you can see the entire grip moves. They are very nice, but they do wear out quite quickly. Now, let's get to the engine. It's not in a bad condition. Really doesn't look bad. What makes it look bad, if you look at that section, I'm showing you this section here. What makes it look bad is all of these bolts. They are all rusted. Look, just look at that. That is what makes the appearance to look, how can I put it, off. I've added a quick charge bolt here. Just look at that bolt that holds that subframe in. There is a different type of bolt. That bolt is rusted. Those are rusted. So, you see where I'm going with this. This engine, I'm also going to rip it, not apart, I'm going to rip it out of the frame. And I think I want to paint this engine. I think we will paint it, even if we paint it this color. We're also going to fix all this little small dings. Fix it nicely. This will do nicely. We'll do something nice with that. You can see just there, the paint is just starting to flake off. So I think, you know what? Let's do it properly. Here's the swing arm made of aluminium and then was painted with gosh knows what. So I'm going to get this sandblasted. Here you can see on the inside. Guys, who does things like this? I mean, you paint it on the outside, but not on the inside. Yeah, and guys, trust me if I say this to you. I have washed this bike about 10 times already. It's still dirty. It's still nasty. The only way I'm going to be able to get this thing presentable is by tearing it apart and redoing it. The wheels are off. Sprocket doesn't look bad. Chain doesn't look bad. You can see that's already off there as well. Fork seals are leaking, so we will have to get into that as well. Again, caliper bolts rusted badly. Pinch bolts, very, very bad. Every single bolt rusted. So it does need attention. So, in today's video, we are going to start with the teardown process for this motorcycle. And I'm going to take you along for the ride. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Let's go. Alright guys, I'm going to call that the night. It's ice cold in this workshop, so I don't want to get the flu or anything like that. So the subframe is off, all the plastics are off, the forks are out, all the switch gear has been loosened up. I had to cut this one wire that runs to the tail light and the indicators and so forth, because it's got no plug on it. That's something that we will definitely have to look at. Put a plug on this so that it's removable. There's a reason why they use plugs in manufacturing, guys. It's so that you can take components out without having to do this. So yeah, I think for now, that should be it. I'll take the swing arm out next and the rear shock. And I think then what we'll do is we'll drain the coolant. Then we'll take the engine out. And then little things like the foot pegs and the triple clamps, radiators, and the wiring loom. Then this bike is completely stripped. Then
it can be taken to this guy that's going to do the sandblasting for me. And whilst these things are in for sandblasting, we're going to do small things like polish up the radiators and the radiator cap, the brake and clutch lever. We'll get to have a look at this clutch reservoir close up and see what we're going to do to make this look like something again. And we're definitely moving in the right direction. One more thing I failed to mention earlier, I'll show you the wheels in the morning because it's pitch dark black outside. You won't be able to see anything. However, I have already removed the wheel bearings as they're a bit crusty. And we don't like that here. So we'll replace the front wheel bearings and oil seals or dust seals. And it's going to be a couple of seconds for you and then we'll carry on with the video. We are busy fixing up the KTM EXC450 Super Motard, and we have this mess of a wiring loom. It has been fiddled with and cut and taped, and there's no plugs. Everything was just soldered on, so we are going to remove all of this. You can see this entire thing is one piece because there's no plugs in it. We're going to rectify that. We're going to put some plugs in here so that it is waterproof, and sections of the wiring needs to be removable. Like for instance, the taillight section, there's no plug there. So I want to have a plug here. If we want to remove this to use a bike as a dirt bike, it's 3 bolts, a plug, and then this entire thing comes off. The flickers has unfortunately, or the side indicators has unfortunately been broken off, but we do have the new ones here ready to be reinstalled as we're on the middle of the project of getting this bike fixed up. After my son has had a bit of misfortune with a motorcycle and flipped it, hence the damage to the bottom of the section. But nevertheless, let's get this wiring loom sorted out, and let's get this all neated up and tidy and ready to go back into the bike. So what do we have? We have this section that is in dire need of some attention. These were broken off. Oh, damn, I see this taillight has a crack in it now as well. That's unfortunate. This thing is very sturdily and nicely built. But you see this pieces of 2 long wires have floating around here. This wire needs to go into the cavity, this cavity that was designed into the plastic piece here for it, because the mud guard is going, and it needs to sit flush on here. So we'll have to deal with that. And then we need to deal with this mess. This is cloth taped, which I like. Cloth tape does help to eliminate rattles and squeaky wiring and things. But the bad thing about cloth tape is it keeps moisture locked into the wiring. So on motorcycles, cloth tape is, in my personal view, not the way to go. We have the ignition switch here, also soldered on. There's no way to plug and unplug the ignition switch, which is a problem as well. And this entire section, I've just opened up the headlight to clean everything, but this entire section is part of this entire wiring loom. You see, it's one section because there's no plug. So let's just want to see what you can see. Right. Let's start by removing
all of this insulation tape. Maybe let me get my scalpel and try not to cut through any wires. If I can just get the start, that will already assist me quite a bit. Yeah, I need to cut it more here. This is a mess, guys. I actually hate wiring. That's not my forte, but unfortunately, on each and every motorcycle has wiring, so it's just one of those things that you have to deal with. I am not an electrician. I'm not an auto electrician, though. High voltage electrical work in South Africa, we are dealing with our AC output in South Africa, or the power that we use inside our houses, is 220 volt. That actually, to me, is quite nice to play with and fiddle around with. I like high voltage systems or AC systems that I do enjoy working on, but not this. See, these wires, it's been not raining in South Africa for a long time because of winter, and I have moisture on my hands. I think the last time this bike was washed was maybe about 3 weeks ago, and it's because of this cloth tape that you see here. It's keeping moisture locked in because it's made of cloth. So I just want to get all of this removed so that we can see what we have to work with. Okay, so now it's time to break that long piece off, make it shorter. There's nothing worse than old insulation tape. It makes everything sticky and grimy and slimy. What's going on here? Let's see if we can cut through this cloth tape. Right, so how difficult can it be to remove a piece of tape? Okay, what do we have here? This looks like a piece of heat shrink that was never shrunk. That's all right, we'll just cut it off. We'll replace it with some proper stuff. All right, this is much better. It's starting to look like something here. Let's get to the end of this cloth tape. I think it's here. Yes. Oh, it's sticky. Oh, it's grimy. It's slimy. Let's maybe try the small scissor. See if we can get into the back. Without cutting any wires off. Did that help us? Must have. Yes, it did. All right. Okay, and you can see what I'm doing, so that's good. All right. These two indicators are now separated from the headlight, which is separated from the parking globe or the DRL. I can't see where's the start and the end of this piece of cloth tape. Don't want to cut through all the wires, as I don't want to have unnecessary joints in the wiring loom. Guys, this is a mess. Be careful with the scalpel. It's sharp. It will go through your flesh without any problem whatsoever. I'm trying not to cut my finger off. I don't want to be somebody that amputated one of my own limbs. Jeez, but this is tough. Okay, now we're making some progress. Let's see. Oh, where does this go? Oh, guys, it's a mess. That's why I'm doing it, because I can't look at this every day. It needs to be proper. It needs to be fixed. Can you imagine if there's a problem with something electrical on this motorcycle and the wiring looks like this? Where do you start looking for a problem? It's basically impossible to identify an issue if it looks like this. Guys, what I'm going to do before I murder you with boredom, I'm going to carry on taking all of this insulation and corrugated tubing and everything off. And then once I'm done with all of this, I'm getting all of this tidied up and open and neat and ready to start looking for what went wrong here, and also cleaning all this gooey glue and residue of all the tape, different types of tape. Once I'm done with that, I'll return to you and then we'll take it from there. I'm 100% certain that you'll agree with me that if your wiring is nice and clean like this, you'll be able to much easier pick up when there's a damaged wire. If you compare it to here where it's not cleaned and sticky and gooey, just look at all that goo and stick. I'm several hours into this cleaning process and we still have quite a bit of work to do. Just look at this dirty cables. I'm going to replace these 3 wires. Just feel that they are super thin and it seems like here it's been melted quite a bit. So back to the time lapse you go so that we can continue cleaning up this mess. All right, viewers, I think that's enough for the wiring, etc. You'll see that I've cut these wires off, but I left a small piece of blue, for instance, on that one, small piece of yellow on that one, small piece of red there, and green and black here, and orange here. That is so that when I start with the taillight section, the headlight section, this is coming from the headlights. When I start to finish up the wiring loom for that piece, I have this ready to go. So I can crimp my connector on here. I can do the same there, go wire for wire color, get the correct colors matched with the correct plugs, and then all of this and the indicators and so forth will still work as they did. I've also cleaned the ECU. I've cleaned everything as far as possible. But I think before I can go ahead with this and finish up the wiring and all of these pieces, look for instance at this. This is where the manufacturer links multiple wires to one feed. So it's rubbed through here, and it's rubbed through on quite a bit of components on these wirings, like there. So that's the reason why I said this whole piece with a white plug at the end, I'm not even sure where it goes, but I'm going to replace these 3 wires with new ones. And I'm also going to replace these multiple connectors, factory connectors. I'm going to cut them off and redo them. You can see that they've got quite a bit of corrosion on them. As I mentioned, this motorcycle was at sea level. So before I continue with that, I think I'd like to put the wiring loom into the bike, and then we'll finish up with that. But you'll be there to see that as well. As far as the tailpiece concerned, I removed the entire wiring loom for the back tailpiece and the indicators at the back. I've also removed these burrs I'll give them a bit of melt. How am I going to do that? Most probably with my gas soldering iron, just to make it just smooth around the edges. But all these pieces that stood up was removed. You can see it's nice and flat now. Now it needs a proper clean, and then we can start reassembly the taillight unit. This also, you can see where it flipped right there. So I'm gonna sand that out and polish this lens. It's got a little small crack in it here, but this is where the crack is. So if I show you where the taillight goes, it goes here. The crack is here. The plastic is physically, the tailpiece plastic is that shape. It's gonna lie right over this, so you're never gonna see it. However, it is most definitely going to leak moisture into the taillight housing. So I'll just put a small piece of clear epoxy right over there, so just to keep the moisture out. And then I can add the new flickers. I bought exactly the same flickers as the ones that was on the back here. It's exactly the same as those on the front little fairing there. I'll add that all up, but first of all, this thing needs to be properly cleaned, reassembled. It needs to get a plug. That plug needs to go to this entire loom that I've already insulated again, and here's the ends of this loom. So we'll get this all ready. But for now, I think we are done with wire. Just of my son's accident has been, and all the evidence thereof has been removed. So we are ready with this for paint. Not going to touch it by bare hand or anything. It's already been smoothed out with a Scotch-Brite, so we are ready to paint this. We are still busy with the rims. This rear rim had chain damage. Most probably the wheel in the back at some point in time either went skew or something, and it had the exact same eat mark. Can I say bite marks in the rim all around the rim. So I've just gave it some body filler and also removed this weight for the balancing. But this has all already been primed as well. Here's a small imperfection in the rim here as well. So I'll just get this sanded down, and then we'll quickly attack it with a Scotch-Brite pad. And then this is also going to be painted. We have decided on gloss black for the hub and the spokes, and then half of the rim will be white and the other half of the rim will be purple. All the plastics will also be white, the frame will be white, the swing arm will be white or silver. I'm still deciding on that. I'm thinking silver, but we'll see. And then all the stickers will be in a purplish color. So that's a theme for the motorcycle, but I'm sure you'll agree this has come out quite beautifully. Let me see if I can show you this. There's a bite mark. 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 Bite mark. Bite mark. You can see they're all in the same orientation. Look at this. There, 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 there. Okay, but all of this has now been taken care of. Look at this side. You can see filler, 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 filler. And then this one had a small little ding right there, which I quickly patched up. And then just here, they had a small amount of damage, which I just quickly fixed. Now I can just quickly patch that up with a bit more of the primer, and then tomorrow we can paint it. Maybe also just to mention on camera here, I wanted to do a time lapse when I'm busy painting these wheels and things. But to be dead honest with you, the problem with my previous camera was that because of the exposure to overspray, and then I had to clean the lens with lacquer thinners, which isn't great for plastic. You can basically only use it on sapphire. So I don't really want to put my new camera in the spray booth. There is like a protective casing available for it, which I might consider, and then I will be able to put my new camera into the spray booth with me. So I'm shooting all of this at 4 FPS, and it's looking good from my perspective. Please tell me in the comments, what do you think about this and how does it look? This engine is going in for paint right now. Everything that's supposed to is blocked off. And I'm just going to quickly tape this wire up with masking tape. I'm going to prime and paint the whole engine, and then after that I will remove this cover and the magneto or stator cover on the other side and paint them in a different color. And then also, just to show you how all of this bike's bolts and nuts came out. Let's take, there's a specific one. This one, for instance, that holds the taillight in. You can just imagine inside of the fender at the back, and also these clamps for the carburetor. They are always very badly rusted, as well as these little things. It's the clamps or the little pinch holders for the starter button. Everything has nicely been plated. Look at this front sprocket. Looks brand spanking new. Perfectly coated. There's a front axle. Here's a rear axle together with its new adjuster there. And just to show you the adjuster nuts or bolts that goes in there, these are the adjuster bolts. They came out pretty. These things were looking terrible. Okay, let's get this engine into the spray booth. We're going to quickly wipe it down again with some prep wipe. We're going to prime it and get it ready for paint. You can see it's nicely clean. Just spilled some oil here, but the engine itself is squeaky clean. All the bolts, these bolts, were looking like this and that, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and that one. They see what I'm getting to. They're not pretty, so that's the reason why I decided to get them coated, nickel plated. Okay, guys, this engine has been primed. You can see the side cover I didn't spend too much time on now. It's basically just to keep all the bolts and everything in place for now. You can see I've also didn't mind too much about painting this rubber cap, which is definitely going to peel off, which I don't mind. It's going to come off anyway. The reason I didn't spend too much time on this is this engine cover, this clutch side and the stator or magneto side is going to be painted in another color. There's also some damage here that we need to repair. And this side has also been primed. Let me take this brick out of the way here. So there you can see there's some damage as well that needs to be repaired. And this cover doesn't even have bolts in. It's just magnetically kept in place there. But I've made sure to get into all the little nooks and crannies. Took the starter off. Here's a starter. Here's a spray gun with a mixed paint inside. Now it's time for paint. So this engine I'm going to now paint these two engine cases in black. Then I'm going to move them out of the store or out of the spray area. Then I'm going to spray that top and bottom yoke and that nut in silver. Then if that's dry, I'll come in, bring all the stuff that I was painted yesterday in silver, bring them back into the spray booth or the spray area and do a matte clear lack on all of these things, the black parts, the black bits, and the silver parts. After that, I'll flat that frame and the swing arm, give it a quick flat, and then I'm going to do 3 thick, wet white coats of paint on them, and then they'll get a clear coat. Just wanted to show you these. You can see this one is leaking. It's leaking a bit of brake fluid, that's fine. But I've painted that already. You can see how nice this actually came out. You can see the wording and things on it perfectly. Just want to put it in such a way that the brake fluid leak will do nothing to the paint there. This is the clutch master, also nicely painted, looking brand new. So this will get a matte clear coat, and then we'll put it back on the bike. The handlebar was also painted in the same color, so that will also get a matte clear coat. Right, let's continue. Okay guys, we've got all of this silver. It's a beautiful, it came out very, very pretty. This one, this bolt, the handlebar, very, very nice. And then the clutch master as well. So this has been painted. This has been painted and polished up. This is a black with a small amount of silver in it. I didn't want it just a flat black. So we use Excella prep wipe. We've already prep wiped all of this. And then this is the Excella 2K matte clear coat that we will be putting on everything here. I'm going to do that now. Thereafter, after I've put the matte clear coat on this 2 coats with a 20-minute flash off in between, I'm going to flat this frame down quickly, and I'm going to apply another 2 coats of white base on it, and then we'll wait a while and then give it another proper wet white base coat before we do the gloss clear coat on the frame as well as the swing arm. This is what the engine cases came out like. We have some proper gasket paper here. I'm going to make new gaskets for these two as well as for the clutch slave cylinder on the engine. And whilst I'm doing this, I'm watching Grind Out Plumbing Co. Awesome guys, I like your show. Fantastic work you do. And then thereafter, we will fit it in here, and then we'll slap this motor back into the frame. Okay guys, I'm going to end the video here. Thanks so much for tuning in. If this is the type of content that you like to view, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you are already a subscriber, thanks so much for your support. A like also goes a long way if you will be so kind as to like the video. And until I see you in the next video, where we will start assembly and do the final paintwork. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one. Cheers.